I would die for Daiso.
I die for Daiso.
Like, just saying.
No, but there's it's homemaking, it's community.
Yeah, like somebody.
It's nesting.
Or it's like it can be sort of the nice, beautiful wallpaper that surrounds a dramatic story. You know? Like. Yeah. Or we're using something from Daiso to say like clean up blood. Or you know?
Wait. Hey Victoria.
Oh hey Kelsey.
You know what I could use?
Oh, tell me, what could you use?
A breath of fresh movie. Yeah.
That's a movie I like to see.
This is a breath of fresh movie. Energy up.
Let's go.
Our theme music isn't so energy pumping, I realize.
Is it?
I mean, it's. I like it. I like our theme. It's moody. It's kind of like I don't know how to feel. It's a mood. But sometimes I want to come in hot, you know, and I don't know that it matches that.
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah. Start doing like
I'll do
like the fog goes on, or I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, like Showtime, like the Lakers. Yeah.
I think we should open. Actually, I'm just thinking Space Jam. Actually, and I think we should do the Space Jam. Come on and slam if you wanna jam.
And then we'll do some jumping jacks, and we'll be in our tracksuits.
Yeah,
and then we'll unzip. And
which you'll have to infer that.
Yeah.
Who says we're not doing that now?
That's true. I do like the idea of us wearing like branded breath of fresh movie, like as if we were in the Olympics training.
Yeah.
Like I want like the tracksuit and the t-shirt and everything in the same color.
I love it.
Like all mustard and maroon.
Team Boffum.
Boffum. Yeah.
Team Boffum.
So yeah, we were talking about cleaning up blood earlier because today's movie is the 2006. I don't even know. I don't have words for it. It's better than a movie. It's life. It's Volver.
We loved it. We loved it.
Directed by Pedro Almodovar.
Yeah.
Who I realized, like, we watched Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. That was like one of our, I think our 6th episode.
And it's still absolutely like top 5
and
movies for me now.
I'm a little ashamed that we haven't come back to him sooner.
Oh, no, we did. Didn't we do Parallel Mothers?
Oh, we did. I totally forgot about that.
Shit,
man, my memory's
That's
bad.
the thing is he is a great example of someone who's been around, and the same with what's his face with Chungking Express in the what's his face
Wong Kar-wai.
Yes, so like they've been around, they've been in the business of making really potent. Humanistic, visually splendid types of movies.
Yeah, splendid.
You know, but he gets shortchanged. I think. You know?
I mean,
he's so influential. Like I think any like filmmaker at this point worth their salt should know, and they should. Yeah, you really. Yeah, there's just so much to love.
Take a look at this guy. I mean, we've sung his praises before.
We're very biased in his favor.
We are.
I know for me, it just checks a lot of boxes. His movies in terms of a lot of themes that are really powerful to me. I'm a big fan of bright, distinct aesthetics, and he does that. I like that. I like the melodramatic, the camp. There's a camp, but also an earnestness.
Yeah,
and it's just like it just hits all. Like for Chelsea Fair, it's like
it's fine dining.
Some of the subject matter is very uncomfortable for me, but it's not to say that I have not thoroughly appreciated and been fully engaged in every movie. Oh, totally. I'm mostly thinking of Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. That's a very alienating watch. That's a tough one for me.
It's got some trouble,
but there's a lot to love.
Yeah,
you know, Antonio Banderas is a smoky man,
but he also like punches a woman in her face.
Oh yeah, the headbutting thing, just like oh god,
not great. Yeah, not great. And it's very Stockholm syndrome-y stuff.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you know, the movie is directly challenging, just like with like Secretary, where you have the protagonist look you fourth wall break, like yeah, we did that.
Yeah, and
love is unconventional.
And depiction doesn't mean endorsement. We know this.
Sure.
And there have been so many different great like subjects he's tackled. I mean, Dark Habits is about nuns who have like a drug problem, you know. And
I mean, there's a lot, and similar with this film now, there's would be subject matter of like sexual violence you know. It got much darker and more intense as it went on. You know, I think there were certain things early on that, okay, that makes sense. Like once the reveal happens. Let me make sure I'm on track here. Oh no, I know, because
we're all over the
one
map.
that we're very very into.
Well, I'll just give a log line here before
do all the you said the year.
We got the year. We know who's in it. Starring Penelope Cruz, who I think is the most beautiful woman alive. I'm just gonna say
she looks so good, but then also just captures that distinct character element that I really like. Almodovar values. Yeah, he doesn't put necessarily conventionally hot. She happens to be.
She is beautiful,
but also she also I think captures like. She's got some texture and flair to her. Absolutely. You know, she's got this charisma factor. Yeah, I feel like it really pops out in his movies. Of her, as opposed to other things I've seen where she's just kind of like a sex object, or she's more
absolutely.
It's more just like she's this ephemeral, hot.
Well, like I'm thinking about Vanilla Sky.
Yeah,
where she was kind of not a manic pixie, but a little, you know, she was a dancer and you know, everything about, and that whole movie is a whole other can of worms, but I hear what you're saying.
Exactly.
She's often, these things happen to actresses like Salma Hayek, and, you know, it happens to a lot of, you know, frankly, like Latina performers, you know, where it's like
spicy Latina. They did a video on The Take about that trope.
Yeah, it's
spicy
gross.
Latina.
Yeah, like Lupe Velez, right? It was the Mexican Spitfire,
right?
Like, I mean, this is related, but you know, I feel the thing that I suspect is the truth about why is, you know, Almodovar not more appreciated. It's like, right, because he doesn't work in English.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm not saying this
even with Bong Joon-ho when he won the Oscar with Parasite, and he calls out the fact that, like, you know, if you can get over the 2-inch subtitle, you know, that's your only hurdle that's holding you back from like incredible cinema. Yeah, you know,
and this is one of those.
His body of work,
his entire body of work. There are some I haven't seen, but
there's many I still haven't seen actually.
But the fact that he also likes to work with a lot of the same actors. Yeah. And not that you have to be married to a troupe, but you know, Ingmar Bergman did that. Orson Welles did that. Yeah. Like there are a lot of directors who
he's kind of got his own little company.
Exactly.
Judd Apatow did it.
Yeah, a lot of people do it. I mean, Wes Anderson has a lot, but I think a lot of people come. Well, I don't know how it works, but I get the sense that like he gets to collect people, or they want to be collected in that world, right?
Could they want to be commodified?
Yeah.
No, but sorry, I didn't
interrupt it. We're good. No,
there's that log line.
There's that log line. All right, so this film revolves around a family of women from La Mancha, which incidentally is where Pedro Almodovar was born. Raimunda, played by Penelope Cruz, is a working class woman who's forced to go to drastic lengths to protect her daughter. Also, her mother returns from the dead to resolve, you know, unresolved issues.
Yes.
And there's a little bit of ambiguity around that for a bit, but you know, that the idea of coming back, right, to return, Volver, this is all part of it. We've got Penelope Cruz, Carmen Mora, who hadn't worked with Almodovar since Women on the Verge.
Really?
I guess they had some kind of a falling out.
Oh, that's a shame, because I loved her in that.
I mean, when I saw her, I mean, she's great. No question. So good. But when the first time I saw her in this, it was like, you know, like it was like
there is the return, that feeling is like on a meta level of like, and I'm, you know,
like I know her, Mama. And she's still beautiful, and she
just has those really beautiful almond eyes, you know, just the very. Yeah.
Although she thought maybe she could pass for Chinese.
No, I mean, I know that's typically
not the actress,
but she literally has just these very big brown eyes.
She has beautiful eyes.
She's very magnetic.
And it was like seeing an old friend. Yeah. That's how it felt, because we had loved Women on the Verge so intensely, and to see her and and he has done that. You know, he works with people multiple times. He's like, oh, I don't really write for somebody until they've been in a few films. You know, I have to sort of understand. But apparently, even though they had some kind of a falling out, they reunited and everything sort of was fixed. And she was like, wow, we still had the same chemistry. It was really crazy how like it was almost like nothing had changed.
That's really nice.
It is sweet. So I'm glad they worked it out. I also want to mention we have Johanna Cabo, who plays Paula, an excellent performance. Yeah. We have Blanca Portillo as Augustina, Lola Dueñas as Soledad or Sole, and Chus Lampriave as Tia Paula. And that was great to see her because she was the Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
Though, like, I would love to lie. I'd be so good at it.
Oh my gosh.
That was
I didn't
her.
even pick up on that.
Same woman.
That's great.
So again,
I mean, the whole cast just really, they did a great job.
Just another familiar face. It's
another familiar face.
So he has this, I mean, this, I think we'd mentioned it before, but it was like the idea of world building. It can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So, now, I think we need to stop at a checkpoint.
Oh yeah, this is one of those movies that's better.
We don't want to ruin this one.
This
for
is
y'all.
one that, like, if you haven't seen it,
go watch it.
It's definitely worth
It's on
watching.
Hulu. I'm pretty sure
definitely
it's on
worth,
Hulu.
Be a little patient with it because the plot can be kind of confusing. It was for me initially, just keeping track. Also, like, this isn't one that you can kind of look away and then look back because you'll miss a key piece of information that's casually thrown in a little Spitfire wordplay between the sisters or so. Like, there's a lot of exposition that comes out conversationally that is easy to miss. And all of that having been said, it was not, I had no expectations going in. I'm glad I went in mostly cold, other than knowing that I enjoyed his films. And this one hit me. So definitely try to go in cold if you can.
And that was Checkpoint Chelsea.
Checkpoint Chelsea.
We're now free to talk about whatever we want. Spoilers ahoy, because we may
Spoilers
not
ahoy.
talk about
Ding, ding,
everything,
ding.
but we will talk about anything.
And you're lucky we didn't already spoil something at this point.
We were good.
We were pretty good.
What first impressions land, what stands out to you the most about this movie?
This is the most Almodovar of his movie. I think he loves women. He loves mother-daughter relationships.
Totally.
It's personal projections, we all have different parental issues of whatever sort, but a mom who's passed and there's this unresolved anger or resentment, and a lot of that comes from this place of feeling neglected, and your mother is your first love, and when you, just as much as they love their mom for feeding them, they hate their mom for not feeding them. It's like there's the volatility of that. I don't know, it's a very visceral, emotional thing that really resonated for me. And especially if you have any unresolved issues with maternal figure in your life, this one's gonna cut pretty deep.
Yeah,
it may feel cathartic. It's gonna feed into that longing, and it's like a very delicious kind of melancholy, I should say.
Yeah, I think
I loved it.
One of the first notes of that, I think, was when they've come home and they're looking in the bodies there, and Paula says something like, "I want to be near you." Yeah, I don't want to. She's like, "Go to your room." She's like, "No, I want to be near you." And it's like, that just basic need. That's just, I'll be better if I'm right here with you. Yeah. That was really powerful. I also thought the fact that she believed her daughter immediately.
Yeah, I loved that. I mean,
it all made sense later, of course.
Yeah, and
because she had experienced pretty much the same thing.
Had that even, there was the echoings of the generational trauma, quite literally history repeating itself, but also just the, it's really clearly signaled the unconditional support, and these women, it's their family. This is a very nearly manless movie. Yeah. But the women are even when they're angry or having issues with one another, there is always space to hear the others out, or to find, even the ones that are at each other's throats at times in this movie. There's a lot of there's some heated exchanges, but there's always room to reconcile, or there's the empathy is not lost.
No.
And that's something, even in the more high camp Women on the Verge, one of my favorite scenes is these two women that are vying about the same man. Yeah. And that, Carmen's character is that Pepe is able to hear out this crazy woman from the asylum going off about how much she is so broken down by her unrequited love for this man.
Yeah.
And that they sharing that connection, this movie sort of, in a lot of his movies, there seems to be this love and appreciation that there's an inherent empathy of the women.
Yeah.
You know?
And I hear what you're saying, like even
when they don't agree.
Even when the sisters fight, like one shows up later and, you know, to apologize and the other is sort of happy and like smiling. It's like, oh, I didn't think you'd want to see me. And she's like, well, you know, sometimes I just get crazy.
Yeah. It's just, you know, that sort of stuff is just like, oh, you know.
That very, yeah.
Yeah, I was mad.
It's expressive. It's very, I mean,
sorry I slapped you. I was just mad. You know, that sort of, that kind of thing. Like.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's, yeah, like you said about being manless. I mean, in a very efficient number of shots, we figure out and learn that, okay, her Raimunda's husband, Paco, is unemployed. He's been drinking all day.
Yeah, he's just
a pest.
What you see is what you get.
I mean,
he sucks.
And they very quickly indicate his interest in Paula.
The daughter.
Yeah, like her legs being kind of spread open.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable to watch.
That was very, I mean, you know immediately what he's thinking about.
What he wants to
and
do.
then he catches a glimpse of her through the door crack too.
Yeah.
And we see like a little side titty, whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think there's people who have experienced the stepfather molestation thing, again, who also may find this very triggering because that is the sort of inciting incident, really.
Yes.
That like gets everything rolling because, of course, Paula fights back, ends up, you know, threatening him with a knife and ends up killing him. She didn't mean to, but, you know, it happened. And that, you know, you knew something was wrong. Like she's standing in the rain at the bus stop. And I'm like, oh God, something bad happened. And then like, I've been calling you all day. Like, did you get bread? No. Like, you know, and just the dread, like that she sort of seems to know, I just need her to come home and see it. And then I don't have to explain so much.
But I was so relieved and comforted on her behalf, the way that Raimunda just immediately embraces her and is like, I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah.
It's like, she's like, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Just immediately
took, no, because that also doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
You know, like I've known people who've been in that situation and the mother won't hear it.
Yeah.
And that is
the denial,
that kind of betrayal and that kind of all kinds of other traumas. So,
and that comes up in this movie too.
It does. Yeah. And being blind to that kind of thing, that sort of thing happening right under your nose and just being in total denial.
Yeah.
I also thought the fact that Raimunda was like, remember, I killed him.
Yeah.
It was just remember that. Like, it never came up. Like, it never, like, they take, I mean, I love a good body burying scene. I'm just going to say it.
I was very, very on board with them getting away with this.
Absolutely.
And I was scared that this is going to be the driving.
No.
I was scared the driving conflict of the story was going to be them having to conceal this murder.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't, which was like also very...
Yeah. I did. I wasn't looking at like a lot of reviews, but I did happen to notice something on Letterboxd where they said this movie's kind of like playing a video game that has a lot of side challenges.
Yeah.
Like where you think you know what you're supposed to do, but then then she takes over the restaurant.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she's serving a film crew because they need somewhere to, you know,
right.
There are these weird plot developments that are kind of like, where is this going? You know, like what is happening right now?
And it's like, we're supposed to, like, I like it. I like that it feels that we are supposed to feel intentionally misled in that way. I like it. And it's refreshing, that subversion, I think, and I think it ties to the idea that these women, they are perfectly capable.
Oh, they'll survive.
But they just, these fucking guys.
No,
these fucking guys.
The men are kind of they're not great. I mean, and at the very beginning, it begins in this graveyard, and there's all these women scrubbing the graves of their husbands,
right? And like they're in service to they're literally
still keeping it up. Yeah.
And they're still living in service.
And that's the custom apparently in this place. Yeah. But also like they're like, oh, the women here live longer. And it's like, I think that's kind of true everywhere.
Yeah.
But I like that they established this really quickly, and like the wind is established right at the beginning, which becomes very important, you know, in the fire story. And I don't know, I also got to say there are just a few shots, I mean more than a few, but a couple that I thought were just like, I want that framed. I thought the moment, the close up on the paper towel soaking up the blood.
Yeah.
the like, who can clean up a crime scene better than a professional cleaner? You know,
also just like totally reminded me of the cleaning commercial from Women on the Verge a little bit.
I didn't even think about that.
Where are his bloody? Oh, they'll never find his bloody. Oh, I washed them.
Totally clean, no blood or guts.
Yeah, no blood or guts. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, totally. I was also just thinking about that is a profession, crime scene cleaner people, like cleaners, because the police don't clean that shit up.
No,
they
just mess it up.
Yeah. There was also I didn't love that Paula dies. Tia Paula.
Yeah.
So Paula, the daughter, shares the name with their Aunt Paula, who at the very beginning we're introduced to, and she's clearly just like, how is this woman surviving?
Yeah, she's very, very old matriarch.
Yeah. But then when she does pass, I thought when Soleil shows up, and I mean, there's that weird moment where she sees her mother and then she screams, and then she bursts out onto this patio where all these men are just wordlessly standing and staring at her. But anyway, that room of women that she's brought into, that room of like, you're the principal mourner, and it's like the sun is coming through. It's very noir. It feels almost like a little Godfather Sicilian in the way that there are all these women in black and they're all sitting in a circle around the room, and everybody is there to support the people who are close. It's just
they're big on the spirituality, and they're big on the support of the villain, whether you believe in the black magic or whatever that's they honor that, and they honor each other's proximity to it. I think it's like that. It's a,
you feel a community's presence.
It's communal, but it's again, in the absence of men, the women are able to
do fine. Yeah. I mean, honestly. And then I also thought the funeral procession, there's sort of a wide shot where they're going right down the middle of a street, and it's just a gorgeous composition. And this movie's full of them.
Very, very good looking movie.
Very good looking movie. Mm-hmm. I like the whole, like, do you still have your illegal hair salon? Like,
yeah,
of course, this is how I make my money. And I'm like, have you ever,
illicit. This is the word that stuck in my head, is illicit hair salon.
Illicit hair salon. That's what she said, right?
It's funny.
And I mean, I've had my hair cut. Like, I've hopped up on a kitchen counter to have my hair washed in somebody's sink. I've done that.
You show up at.
You ever been to one, like a black market salon?
Oh, I mean, I've had like people that are friends
come
or
over to cut your
acquaintance
hair.
Friends or whatever who are like learning, and it's like, well, this is going to be cheaper than the salon, so
absolutely. Vidal Sassoon Academy.
Right.
That's where I feel like I met all of my hair people through that, or through some extension of that.
Because you got to, that's how they build their client. It's a lot more just about like the trust and rapport of client, and
always. Yeah. No, I love the one who cuts my hair. I just haven't had but I need a haircut.
Gotta have a good relationship.
All right, so not important, but I do. It is though.
It is important
because the whole
women's relationships.
Yes,
and
that there's so many great little moments with those women who are the clients.
I love that so much when they think that she doesn't understand Spanish.
Yeah,
so don't trust. She's gonna take advantage of you.
Yeah,
you're easily taken advantage of.
Yeah, I also thought there's like that moment where of course, so she's hiding, and they can't let Raimundo know that she's back from the dead. Yeah. So I love that woman who's like, what the hell happened to the Russian woman? Like, she just left me here. I've been talking to myself about my son getting expelled. It's just because he slashed the tires of his religion teacher. And it's just said so casually. Like, it's just not even
It's really good humor. Again, it's just like the whole Jehovah's Witness scene in Women on the Verge, which is, I wish I could lie.
Yeah, I love to.
These things that are kind of, other movies kind of throw away those opportunities to just add texture and flavor.
Yes, yeah. Like, I think there was another client who was talking about, like, boy, the Russian really likes her TV. And like, I understand, though. I love trash TV. The more I watch it, the worse I feel, but I can't help it.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm like, that should be framed somewhere.
Just like, all the characters are so fun in this movie. Yeah, the salon ladies are really fun.
And it's like we're so in the worlds of women, like the salon, the room of mourners, even the fact that Augustina goes on a daytime talk show.
Yeah.
To like, it's very like, we're all friends here. Give her some encouragement. We're so in their world, and it's great. Like, even though we know Raimundo works, we only get a few scenes of her, in the airport. She works as an airport cleaner. And I don't know, there was just something so humble about that too that I liked. Or not humble, that's not the right word, but I guess what I like is that he will elevate something upward, you know.
Yeah.
Like one of the things he was talking about, this sort of getting into production stuff, but Pedro Almodovar mentioned that in a lot of Spanish cinema, mothers aren't really ever desirable. Like they have their hair put back in a bun, they're wearing black, they're kind of stooped, you know. It's like you become a mother and gone is all the sexuality. And he really, and Penelope Cruz too, were both paying a lot of attention to Italian neorealist films of the 50s, particularly those with like Sophia Loren. Yeah. Because there was a naturalism to those.
She really does evoke that quality.
Well, and they definitely were going for that. Yeah. Like she is styled. I mean, the tousled hair.
Yes.
Certain things, but also like I didn't know this. I thought it was a joke, but then I looked into it. It's true. Penelope Cruz wore like a prosthetic butt,
right?
For this, to be more like full and voluptuous.
Giving her the Pixar mom treatment.
They are
a little bit.
The director said something like, "Well, you know, she can have this very like Audrey Hepburn small presence, like a beautiful, delicate presence."
Yeah.
But he was like,
she seems naturally petite too, isn't she? And I think that's adding a little more.
So I like the heft of it. Like, and I don't mean to dwell on her body, but it actually is kind of important.
Well, the fact that they put the care to do that is worth noting. Yeah. And it is relevant to
and there's shots of
the
like
story.
Like her cleaning the dishes and that overhead shot, and her cleavage is like just very much on display. The juxtaposition of this kind of domestic work, but again,
she took away a job from a big assed woman. Okay, we gotta call out the privilege. This is the zillennial Zoomer discourse. Yep. We need to be having. Okay, this is erasure of naturally thick bootied mamas.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone can be Sophia Loren. I mean, I would love to have that figure, but you know, it's like a full.
No, but they're evoking an idea here.
Very much. And there was like term, I wrote it down. There's a term for it specifically. The Italian maggiorate, which is kind of like sort of an indefinable thing, but it's sort of buxomness or fullness, or like again, basically just picture Sophia Loren in one of those films from the 50s, and that's what we're going for.
Yeah,
that is a good look.
It's sexy matron.
Yeah. Again, natural. Like there's like, just because you've had a few children doesn't mean you can't be desirable.
Right.
So, in the fact that Penelope Cruz is as beautiful as she is like important. Like,
absolutely.
I don't know how else to put that. No, it is shallow.
It's making a statement.
Yeah. And before we go into like other stuff like that, there were a couple of moments I really loved. One was when they're going to bury Paco, and she brings their neighbor who also happens to be a sex worker, and she's telling her, and she's just like, so I really appreciate your trust in me, but like I really don't need this. Yeah. And then I also really love, this is near the end, it's just like a shot. The wind is so high that you see these trash bins just rolling away down the street. I don't know. There was something about that made me laugh a lot.
He's got a very good sense of humor.
So good. A few things about the production. I don't have a ton.
Sure.
Because quite honestly, if I spoke Spanish, I would have more. Because there were some great featurettes out there that I watched, but I was like, I got muerta.
Yeah.
I know death is part of this.
That's okay.
But I listened to them anyway. So it's set in La Mancha. Like I said, that's where the director was born. All the characters are inspired by women from his childhood, which I think, you know, you don't necessarily guess it, but it feels that way. Mm-hmm. And he was really interested in the rich culture that surrounds death in the region of La Mancha. He said, I grew up listening to these women. I listened to them sing. I think this is how I learned about drama. They told extraordinary tales that impressed me deeply. And I've heard him talk about that it's almost more important is the sound of what they're saying. Like he's really interested in, like, it was just so funny because he cares about all the details. We think of him as such a visual guy, but the way somebody reads a line is almost more important to him or more interesting to him. So, and I thought the fact that he was saying like they sang songs, and we get a song in this, you know, we get, and there is something about music that teaches you about drama, and there is something about the way women or not just women, anyone can talk and, you know, make like, oh, do you know what happened?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not going to believe it. Like, you know, like we do know drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know drama, isn't that
tone and
AMC?
we know how to tell stories.
We do know how to tell. Well, it's like all we've been allowed to do, you know, like that's the whole. The curse of Eve is like you see these medieval portraits of her weaving because it's like women weave their lives.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, but even on the you know, just the director raised by these women, these are the first storytellers of his life, and
the fact that he respects it, remembers it, acknowledges it, and returns to it. I mean, in one of the previous episodes we've talked about with his films. Is you know, he's given advice to young filmmakers, be like, try to kind of eavesdrop on your mom when she's talking to her friends, like don't let her see you. Penelope Cruz also like a huge part of this, and although it's an ensemble cast, I think she was very much on his arm for all of the festivals, all of the press.
She's
you know.
She's the poster. She's the poster face.
You know, she's the star. She says, there's only one Pedro, and for me, he is my priority in every way. He writes for women who are 14, 30, 45, 60, 80. He creates characters for women of all ages. For sure, my career would not be the same without him. My life would not be the same. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
I was just thinking, too, like, I don't know, call me crazy, but seeing a little Star Wars in this movie. And she's the Luke Skywalker breaking the cycle. And her mom is the Darth who's like going back to a tone, you know? And then I guess that's all. That's all I got.
Who's Yoda?
I was about to say, I don't know who.
I think Tia Paula.
Yeah, I think she's Yoda.
Because she dies.
Yeah, she dies. Oh, shit, this is Star Wars. I see you, I see you, Pedro.
I think Augustina is Han Solo. Maybe not.
Yeah, you don't think that maybe she's like Leia?
Maybe.
Or maybe,
you're right.
Is young Paula
Leia.
like the Leia?
Oh, we got to work this out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, sorry. I just thought about it now, okay?
I like it.
Genius only comes in spurts.
Hiding a body, there's moving a big fridge, there's burying a big fridge with a body in it. I know I mentioned like loving body burial scenes, but I sort of thought a little bit about Search Party. Like they do much better in this movie. They do great. But I was thinking about that scene where like they're digging all night and the sun is coming up and they still haven't buried it.
Yeah.
You know? And like
I've always wondered like the logistics of this is like,
I think we're allowed to take some suspend our disbelief a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I believe them because of how exhausted, sweaty, and filthy they are in the cut. You know, it goes from them starting to like break out.
Oh no, yeah, I don't. I'm not.
I kind of questioned a little bit,
but when I watch like. Yeah, I think like if I think about myself realistically, like trying to dig a hole of any size, it's going to take me a while.
Yeah.
I mean, they say, you know, if you accidentally murdered someone right now, you still have a 50% chance of getting away with it. Those are high odds.
Really?
It's true. I don't know actually how true that is. I heard it from someone else who heard it from someone else.
I hope that's maybe not true.
I'd like to think it's not true.
I thought like murder was like a 70s crime, you know?
Oh yeah,
like
no one gets murdered anymore.
It's not cool anymore.
Murder's not a thing now.
Actually, I mean, you know, there was like, I mean, those killings up in Idaho.
What?
Moscow, Idaho. Did you not?
Did that just happen?
Yeah, this happened. Like they just arrested the dude. They just like caught him and arrested him. So, you know, they can sleep a little easier now. But
that's good.
Yeah.
We're not a murder podcast.
No, we're not. But this guy broke into, you know, college house, but off campus kind of housing, killed everybody inside. Like stabbed like 5 people to death.
Oh my God, why?
I don't know.
Oh
I mean,
God.
And apparently the dude was a criminology student and the worst kind of asshole. So,
oh no.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to know what it's like. I gotta learn the craft. I hate that.
Yeah. Y'all can look into it on your own time.
That's like when I was mentally ill and I thought, I should take abnormal psychology.
So I can learn about myself.
So I can learn about myself.
Yeah. I think a lot of us had that thought.
There's a lot of people that go into mental health with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just want to know what's wrong with them.
Everybody in psychology is a little crazy, okay? Yeah. But we're all a little crazy. I just want one more detail I want to mention. That the title Volver, although of course means to return, it's also a tango that was written by Alfredo Lepera and Carlos Gardel, and then they converted it in this film to flamenco. And the voice that is singing is Estrella Morente. but it's lip synced, of course, very effectively
Very
by
good.
Penelope Cruz.
Very good lip sync too.
Oh, yeah.
Just gets all emotional.
Oh,
Then her
tears.
mom gets emotional.
The mouth is trembling.
I know.
I mean, she really was singing. It's just they don't use her track.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's all. Reviews?
Yes, I've got
Reception?
here. Let's do this.
What do people think?
It was well received.
It should be. I do remember seeing it, around, but again, I was like a little teenage kid who's like, oh, I don't know.
Let's see.
Actually, I would have been graduated from high school at that point.
Speaking of the lip sync, there's I'm going to see if I can find
I think I know the review because I think I
probably.
read it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, what Pulcrito or some 4.5 star. Penelope's lip sync was better than anything from the last 9 seasons of Drag Race.
Yep. Accurate.
Yeah, this is a lot of the stuff is just like yas queen, yas like there's almost no men. That's good.
Yeah.
Penelope Cruz, I will drink your bath water. Some guy said that. Okay, I thought I was going to read more of those, but it was a lot of that kind of like stand talk stuff.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes 91% and then 89% audience score. Very, very, very good. Alex from Bitch Media, as emotionally devastating as it is visually stunning. Alex anyway. Candace Frederick from Real Talk Online. Beautiful performances, a refreshing story, and spot on comedic timing make this a wonderful movie. Amy Nicholson, i.e. Weekly, says it's up to charm to twinkle our attention away from the loose threads in daytime TV plotting. B-, but has a ripe tomato. Oh, I like this. This is the first male reviewer and one of the only splatters. And Stanley Kaufman of the New Republic just says Volver disappoints.
Well, New Republic.
Yeah, no, but just funny because it's like and so many of the reviewers are women for this one. It's interesting to see how surprisingly gendered. Well, not surprisingly, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but every time I go on Rotten Tomatoes, depending on the movie,
we're looking at gendered.
It can be.
Well, it's
a lot of. It can be a lot of dudes or a lot of like this one's mostly women on that first page of top reviewers, and then. Yeah, I guess
maybe newspapers were savvy enough at that point to know like we should have her right.
Yeah, so it's not.
I mean, I don't want to say that like
this movie isn't anti. It's not like if you're a man you can't enjoy this.
No, you should enjoy
I think
this. It's good.
Yeah, I mean it's just a well-made.
There
movie.
are some men who can't. I think who are just starting to realize that everything was sort of, or not everything, but many things were a male-driven narrative for so long.
Yeah.
And that there was this idea that, like, apart from some of the films in the 30s and 40s that were kind of like women's films with like Betty Davis and stuff, but like that has not come back like ever.
Sure.
Like,
no, I mean, these things change in time, and like also.
This is before Mamma Mia came out, which that was like, I'm just saying that actually was like a
Mamma
really,
Mia was a game changer.
That was, it was,
I believe it.
It was 4 years after this, and it changed because people thought you can't have a big box office hit without appealing to men. And then Mamma Mia came out, and bam, huge.
No, it's
take.
true. It's true. I think the people don't. Yeah, it's underestimating or underappreciating how great these movies can really be.
Oh yeah.
And sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, but I had a cogent point here. My cogent point being that also too, like with that other lady's review, where she's saying that like some people, this might not, even though we're both big fans and we both appreciate his style and storytelling and everything, we didn't like Chungking Express.
That's true.
And there's a taste thing there too. There's a certain amount of, this is your cup of tea. Someone messaged me disappointed that we didn't like Chungking and felt bad.
They felt bad.
Like they felt like personally like guilty about it for like I don't want to out them, but that they were like they were worried that we did it because that person they couldn't remember if they had recommended the movie or something.
Oh.
But I think they were also just trying to convey that they were like disappointed that we didn't like it. And I was like, well, if you listened to the podcast, though, you must have heard that we appreciated everything. We appreciated it. Just we at least recognized.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's so positively received and considered one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
Many top lists and aesthetically storytelling. It just wasn't our cup of tea.
Yeah.
Just like with Almodovar, this is not always everyone's cup of. You have to. I personally like the soapy dialogue. I like the on the nose. I like the camp of something very intense and devastating, like a reconciliation between estranged mother and daughter, happening side by side with a scene where people in a salon are just talking crazy trash. That's
No, I'm with you. I think certain things that maybe that appeal to us about this movie, maybe the sort of thing that would actually turn off others. However, I don't think I think that anyone who's turned off, I think maybe they have some other problems.
I think to say that Volver disappoints, it's like I have to wonder what you went in thinking it would be then.
And I would recommend, like, men should see this. Men, you should go see this. Like, watch this movie. It's fucking great. Like, learn how to be.
Yeah.
Although it's not even like it's not a polemic, it's just a movie that's centered on women. That's it.
I mean, and neither women nor men are a monolith or whatever. There's obviously gradients of.
And Almodovar has done films about men. It's not like he only does films about women, but so few people write for. And I mean women, not like these two-dimensional side characters who are just sitting at the dinner beside the man who's talking to the other man at the table where his wife is sitting. And like, it's just enough, enough of that. We're tired. And there are so many more things that are, a lot of female vehicles. I think we are seeing a lot more of it. But it's upsetting. It's one of those other things about just like, sort of United States culture, and sure, you can call me an asshole or whatever, but I just feel like this is one of those places where Americans just kind of we're disappointing, because it's like,
I mean, hopefully we can start getting better about elevating, but that then we have to unpack like the whole industry too, because it's not as though there aren't aspiring filmmakers, American filmmakers who are trying to do this. So blah 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 blah.
No, you're right.
The hires up and where's the money? And
in some respects, right, part of maybe why his films are so great or they're good or they appeal to us is because they aren't made in a Hollywood system.
Yeah,
they're personal. He writes them. He cares about them. I mean, he's a true auteur.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I think he's somebody who completely understands that it's a collaborative process.
Yeah.
And we can call this an Almodovar film, but he works with a lot of the same people over and over again. Again, the word is more than this guy. It's something bigger, and I feel pleased to be alive at the same time as somebody who is producing work like this.
Yeah,
I think I feel lucky to be alive.
It's really nice to see. It's really nice to watch something good.
Yeah,
we watch good things all the time.
No,
I mean, but just it's like
this was like, what happened was I started watching it, and I usually take notes. I was like, nope, I'm watching. I am just watching this.
Yeah, well, also too, again, this is a movie you have to
like.
It's really to your detriment to look away.
Yeah,
it's a dialogue. Yeah. It is a dialogue heavy movie. Actually,
it is.
It's not. It's not dry. There's a lot of
vibrancy.
It's vibrant, but you're missing jokes or you're missing important exposition, especially because of the relations. There are multiple characters with the same names.
Yeah.
The dynamics of people recollecting history and of trauma, and like, oh, the parents died in a fire. No, but this was my actual parent. Oh no, but this person this is my daughter's sister. This is, that sort of stuff can get muddied I had to like go back and rewatch some of it and reread just the.
Yeah. No, I watched it twice.
It's best to just be able to try to stick with it and enjoy it.
And I think it's a film that, watch it. And then if you enjoy it, I'd say like watch it again soon after, because once you know the full plot of the story, and that like, oh, it was really Augustine's mother who died and was having the affair, and like all of that.
Yeah, because it's this family drama. Like there's
such a long and really like a couple of families, right, in this village, and I don't know,
It's interesting that gets equated so much with soap, because soap is always these family dramas and interrelational cheating and
so is Succession. So is Arrested Development.
But we call it like what do we deem when and why do we deem things as soapy? Yeah. And I think it's like about like a delivery and about like a certain like the way that kind of stuff is presented, or the melodrama, or does it feel incredible, or.
And I think maybe. I grew up with parents who were, I think, pretty grounded, and I grew up in a fairly but that doesn't mean that this shit can't happen. You know, I mean, like I'm thinking about, you know, what you're saying about melodrama or the
absolutely.
Like,
family drama is a very,
I mean, every playwright or every story writer, or I don't know, they'll tell you that, like, never underestimate the potential for family, because you have so many different points of interaction, and people who know history, people who remember things differently, and people who resent and hold on to shit for years and years. And I mean, that's the tragedy of this movie, is that, I mean, I was looking at the dates on the grave. It seems that about 4 years have passed since the fire and when the movie opens. And, you know, I think, like, all the elements just came together, you know, like all these little pieces were dropped along, you know, like the windiness and the fire, and, oh, she died in his arms, happy, you know, like, and then, oh, my mother disappeared the same time. And I don't know, it just, and how does this woman survive on her own? And, you know, I think, like, the idea that somebody was there with her, I don't think that's a huge shock, you know, even though it is like a sort of surprise. I think they lead you there a little bit. Like, I think that they're dropping enough stuff. People are having reactions that are making them question things, like seeing the exercise bike, being like, why would she have that? You know? And I don't know. I in some respects, it's like a little bit of a mystery. You know, there's a lot of clues laid out along the way. So if you know where it goes, you'll appreciate all of those little threads and how they all come back together. And it's, I don't know, it's a masterfully written story. And I think, you know, this idea of drama, I mean, people do shitty things to each other. I mean, like, was that like a adaptation? The thing with the McKee, you know, he goes to the lecture and he's just like, what about, you know, a screenplay where, you know, where nothing really happens, you know, something that reflects, like, you know, real life. And he's like, nothing happens in real life. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He's like, some people wake up every day and decide to destroy somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's very true. It's like, it's
if you think this is too dramatic, then you might not be, I don't want to say like you're not living, but like, has no one been in a car accident? And, you know, like,
I don't know, and fantastical things happen.
Right.
You know, like, it's,
I love this. I don't find it out of the realm of anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, some other movies that came out around the same time. So this came out November 3rd, 2006. Number one at the box office was Borat.
Oh man.
Yeah. First Borat movie.
That's a banger.
The second movie, of course, approaching Christmas, was, or number two at the box office was The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause.
Oh geez.
Number 4 was Saw 3. I skipped 3. Number 3 was Flushed Away.
Oh, okay.
That sort of Wallace and Gromedy.
Right.
You remember? And number 5 was The Departed.
Interesting.
That was the box office. Now, some other things that were out at the same time: The Prestige, Flags of Our Fathers, which, as I wrote that out, I'm like, could there be a more patriarchal title? Flags of Our Fathers. It's like, so,
Mark.
All right, anyway, Man of the Year, Open Season, and The Queen with Helen Mirren.
Oh my goodness.
That was November 2006.
Yeah.
I don't have much for Director's Chair this week because you can go back.
Covered so much of him.
You can go back and listen to episode 8, Women on the Verge, or I don't remember which one Parallel Mothers is, but you can listen to that one too. You should. And then watch those movies. 6
months ago, maybe.
God, who knows?
I'm spitballing.
I mean, I have a list, but I don't care enough. Who's your best supporting player?
Oh, shoot. It's hard who to call like a supporting character.
I know, it's a bit ensemble-y.
The ensemble is really strong. Sorry, I'm taking too long.
Well, I'll share mine.
You share yours first.
I chose Regina, who is the neighbor, who's the sex worker.
Yeah,
she's played by Maria Isabel Diaz-Lago.
Yeah,
loved her. Thought she was great.
No, I think she's. I would.
She was very memorable.
I would say this is more. She's really more of almost a first character. She's more. I don't know. She is, I guess, more supporting of the main characters, but Augustina, I think, just like so ready to believe in the ghost of the mother reappearing, and just like, I think just the earnestness and she wasn't necessarily a funny character, but I think I don't know, just something with the cancer stuff, just like there was a lot there, and that storyline was very touching to see that Irene felt responsible to her as well.
Yeah. Well,
just that someone was taking care of her too, because like, I just, that's not, and that kind of compassion.
Yeah.
Was just really nice. I think more, it's more so that relationship.
Yeah. It felt very right. The way that it spun out. Like,
I liked the ending.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. I liked that Irene, that the mother is, she's tying up loose ends. She's taking care of things that
And that just heartbreaking thing about like now, let me go or let me be, because ghosts don't cry.
Yeah.
And just like she's kind of gonna play this role again, but living she was so used to living like a ghost. Like
she's embodying that.
Yeah, and that part where like they're having dinner together and there's a knock at the door and she's like, adios. Or no, she's like hasta luego or something.
Yeah, she has to
she knows she has to hide. She knows.
She hides under a bed in the trunk of a car. It's it's comedic to see that.
And like her like laughing at her own farts. And,
it was very funny. I loved when they walked in, they're like, it smells like she just farted.
And where they're like, remember how she used to fart?
Yeah, that was actually
it was sweet.
I was like tearing up at the humor of that, because that is... That's very real.
It felt real. And again, just like
the sisters bonding through that. It's like, that's very real.
Yeah, like she would sit out in the yard all day.
Just farting. That's very funny. Oh, man.
It's good stuff.
I don't know. You either like a movie that treats, that puts heart into a scene about, sisters talking about their dead mom's farts, or you don't.
I mean, mourning comes in all different forms.
There you go.
And it's such a dream, like it's to have your mother come back like that. It's like, it feels kind of like this fantasy, but the way they handle it, they were so good about, there's real pain involved with that.
Yeah.
That the moment she, Raimunda learns that her mother is alive, like she runs out of the apartment. It's like, it's too much. It's so much.
Yeah.
I thought there was just, it didn't feel clean. It didn't feel finished. I mean, even at the end, she's like, I have to tell you about Paco. She hasn't even told her about the dead husband.
And so
the murder.
And that also reminded me of Women on the Verge, the whole like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. Like, just at the very end.
I'll tell you later.
Oh, congrats.
Like, that is like a lot. That did come up a lot. Like, one day I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
Because Paula still doesn't, the daughter still doesn't know her parentage.
Right.
Exactly. Like, she knows it's not Paco, but she still doesn't know everything.
But it's the importance of communicating and just we're flawed beings, and the women taking care to go back and rectify these mistakes to not not repeat the past for any further. And,
it, despite there being much sadness in this, it did not feel tragic.
No, I found it incredibly, it was like the kind of tears that come from something that's uplifting, it gives you that melancholy feeling of like, I don't know, it's something very, it created a lot of longing in me to see that kind of closure and reconciliation that Irene's character is taking the care to do.
Yeah.
The love and attention that comes from her having, whether this is what she has to role play as, almost like Don Quixote, as a knight. It's like, if that's what it takes for you to rise up and do the good that you are capable of doing, in her case, looking after her daughters, reconciling, and then going to Augustina's side as she succumbs to her terminal cancer. Like, it's like, that feels very like Don Quixote. Like, she needs to, I think, in her own mind, believe she's a ghost, because there's a certain sense of like, I'm just imagining, you pass away or you're a ghost, and it's because you have this unfinished business. It's that you're, that is, you can make that your main objective instead of the other worries of life coming in your way, in a sense. And I think, like, Don Quixote, he hits his head and thinks he's a knight. So chivalry is his top. That's just what he does now. And that is him believing that about himself, motivating him. I don't know. I like drawing that symmetry.
Well, it's La Mancha.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have to think that there's something.
I think there's something there.
Absolutely. Yeah. If she is alive, but she herself believe she's a ghost. Well, if that's
and the village
what
treats her
it
like
does.
one.
Yeah,
like, lots of people have seen her.
It's almost as
and
though
yet,
this is how she's able to grant herself the humility of these uncomfortable confrontations and to heal these things.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I mean, she sets the fire and then she's like, and then I was, roamed the countryside like an animal.
Yeah.
And then I was going to turn myself in, but then I went to see my sister. And when she realized like what her sister believing that Irene had died had just sent her over the edge.
Yeah.
So when Irene comes to see her sister after this, crime she's committed and just sees her in that state, she's like, well, I had to stay.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a complete logic to that.
Yeah.
She's
a caretaker, even though it's like a, reciprocal type of caretaking that's happening.
But it's the nature of caretaking and like what taking care of others can give to you. And not that it's like all about that. I mean, again, she's trying to repent.
She's become selfless in this like identity shift.
Yeah, because she realizes how much she has to atone for. I mean, not that like it's totally her fault what happened to her daughter, but but just being blind to what your husband was doing. Like, that's rough. And she says, like, when I found out, I mean, that's what led to the fire. I mean, that's what did it.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I don't know. Everything makes sense by the end. I mean, that's what I love.
It's a good movie.
It's good.
Highly recommend.
Follow us on Twitter and
We've
Instagram.
Got other stuff going on. We've got
at Breath of Fresh Movie or Fresh Movie Pod. You can email us at breathofreshmovie@gmail.com. Bye.
Bye.